A fighter, a rogue, a cleric, and a druid walk into the tavern. Stalactites cling to the ceiling and drip ale into tankards made of horn. Up at the bar, 4 zombies quaff ale and whiskey from glasses. Over in the corner, a beholder eyes the newcomers with trepidation in its eyes. The bartender's a satyr standing atop a stool. He motions them over. Well, what'll it be for you? The party looks around. The vaulted wooden ceilings disappear overhead beyond the torchlight. The druid reaches into her pouch, pulls out a pinch of something. Dried unicorn excrement. She tosses it over her shoulder with a few words and sigils drawn in the air, and a fireball erupts. Rocks fall. Everybody flies through the air, through the clouds, down below. Mountain tops whisk by. Hands reach forth, grab the party, and pull them up out of the sea onto the deck of a ship. As they cough and splutter, water runs off them in rivulets. An old sea captain leans over them. Huh. Took you long enough. Welcome back. We as Dungeon Masters, new or experienced, all owe a certain duty to our players. I mean, we want them to have a good time. We want them to be immersed in our game. We want them to enjoy the time around our table. For new Dungeon Masters, especially, maybe approaching your first session, you may find yourself nervous or worried about, oh no, what if I mess up? What if I make a mistake? What if I don't know a rule? What if I don't know the lore? What if I haven't figured out the lore if I'm making it all up myself? Let me ask you something. How many mistakes and internal inconsistencies did I just string together in that story? And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that most of you watching this weren't sitting there thinking, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, good grief, a druid casting fireball? And even if they were, it would be bat guano. It wouldn't be unicorn feces. Oh, come on. No. You probably noticed some of the inconsistencies, some more than others. You know, it might be fun. Go back and watch it again and leave in the comments how many inconsistencies and mistakes you find. That could be fun. I've lost track myself. But here's the thing. Most of you, the vast majority in fact, weren't sitting there thinking, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. No. You were probably leaning a little closer in your chair. You were probably hearing these things and going, wait, what? Well, what's going on there? Your imagination started to fill in and come up with theories about, well, wait, what's going on? Why is a beholder in a tavern and afraid of this party? Wait, hold on. Rocks fall, everyone flies? Well, that's not what I expected to hear. Oh, wait, we're flying? Okay, we're being pulled out of the ocean. Well, hold on a second. What's the story here? What happened? What's going on? It raises questions. It drew you in to what was going on. For a moment, you were all players around my table. So let me ask you this. Why did you come along? Why did you follow with every detail? Why did every mistake and error cause you not to go, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, but rather to say, oh man, well, I got to know more. What's going on? Well, I'll tell you why, and some of you have already figured it out. The absolute conviction with which I delivered every detail. My confidence in every word that came out of my mouth. That is why. And you might have some other ideas about wording and word choice or whatever. It doesn't really matter. The point is, ultimately, at its core, that is the reason you came along for that trip. Because, yes, it was quite a trip, wasn't it? If you're approaching your first game, or your 5th game, or your 10th game, or maybe you've been running for years and you've just never really thought about things this way, maybe consider this. If you're worried about making a mistake, don't be. Here's why. And I know some people have natural confidence. Some people don't. They doubt, they question themselves. So for everyone watching and listening, I want you to understand this key tenet of being a dungeon master. When you step behind that screen, when you take up the mantle of dungeon master, your word is... You expected me to say law, didn't you? No. Wrong headspace. Your word is reality. Every word out of your mouth weaves the reality of the game into which your players are willingly joining and diving headfirst. So you don't make mistakes. You weave reality. Now, might you decide later to come back and retcon something? Yeah, you absolutely might. If somebody had questioned me about why are zombies drinking at a bar, that doesn't make any sense. Why is a beholder afraid of some adventurers, random adventurers that walk in? What's the beholder doing in the bar anyway? Why is a druid casting a fireball? They can't do that. Plus, it's the wrong components. First of all, if a player challenged me on that, I'd have a couple options. Could I go back to the rule book and say, oh yeah, you're right. Okay, so something slightly different, but basically the same thing happens. Yes, I could absolutely do that. It's well within your purview as a dungeon master. However, the other thing I could do is look at that player and say, the druid reaches into her pouch, pulls out a pinch of powdered unicorn excrement, tosses it over her shoulder, waves her fingers in the air, speaks some words, and a fireball erupts. What have I just done? I've established the reality of the world in which my players find their characters. And by the way, how many of you actually think a player is going to challenge me when I deliver that story? Not too likely. Again, conviction, confidence, every word out of your mouth weaves a part of the tale. Some of you may have heard the term or the phrase, fake it till you make it. I don't like that. I really don't like that, but I understand the concept behind it. Know this. You, when you step behind that screen, are the dungeon master. It's not something you try to do, to borrow an idea from a famous icon of geek lore. It's something you actually do. Could you do it poorly? Yes. Could you do it well? Yes. But one thing you will not do is make mistakes. You'll simply weave interesting quirks into the game. Between sessions, you can stop and think about, okay, well, what went well, what didn't go well, what do I want to change, what do I want to do differently? You can perhaps decide to go back and say, okay, so this happened last time, well, it's not going to happen that way in the future. We're going to change some things. That's totally fine. That's up to you. You are the dungeon master. You will improve with every session, hopefully. But at the table, you have no business having no confidence, because your players want to buy into your game. That's why they're there. So have the confidence of knowing that every word out of your mouth weaves the reality of the game. And they will buy into it. And they will enjoy it. And you know what? If you do make a few mistakes, or rather weave some interesting quirks into the fabric of your world, that can serve as the seed for a wild adventure that your players will be talking about for years to come. Oh my word. So many of you have liked some of my previous videos, which is awesome. I really appreciate it. Many of you have subscribed to this channel, which is awesome. I really appreciate it, especially for a small channel. It's really exciting to see those numbers start to climb. It means people appreciate the work and effort that I'm putting into these videos. Some of you have left some nice comments. Just, hey man, keep going. I can't believe this channel's so small. Love it. Good job. That's fantastic. It feels great. But whoa, some of you took some time and wrote out paragraphs in the comments detailing your experiences that relate to what I was talking about in the video, or explaining how it helped you, or you're looking forward to the next session, or you've got a challenge that I kind of talked about that here's how you're dealing with it. Oh my word, it was completely unexpected, and it's a happy surprise. It is really, really encouraging to a level that even surprises me. I wasn't really expecting that. So thank you so much for engaging with my content the way that you have. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this video as well, and please feel free to pass it on to someone you think could benefit from it. Thank you again so much, and I can't wait for you to see the next video.